Welcome back to Second Breakfast and our ongoing conceptual discussions, bringing you the best thoughts, theories, and literary analysis this side of, well, McDonald's.
We've been thinking about this episode for so long.
It has been on the docket. I have a master directory of all future episode ideas. It's insane, like chicken scratch.
Sure.
I have had this episode on the docket for months, if not years, and today is finally the day.
We are doing
answering
it.
The biggest question of our podcasting careers is the Big Mac a work of art?
I'm so excited to talk about this because it's such a silly idea, but we're going to treat this seriously. We're going to really do it. We're going to really do it.
Yes, we are. And I think that's where you have to start because there's almost this knee-jerk hesitation or kind of sense of guilt where my brain tells me, or my heart or some other organ that I need to survive, tells me to say no. The Big Mac is not a work of art because McDonald's is so bad for you and it's such ubiquitous strip mall slop that's on every corner of every country of the whole world.
Right.
But those are qualitative judgments, and that has nothing to do with something being a work of art or not. We did a whole episode on bad art. What is bad art? Go check out that episode.
Does that even exist? That was a really fun discussion. We sort of cemented it around 50 Shades of Grey, and that was a really interesting...
Which I virulently defended.
Oh, absolutely.
The second book's great.
Big fan.
Anyway, I think in our mutual heart of hearts, there's only one answer to this question. Of course, the Big Mac is a work of art.
Yeah, like, of course it is. Like, I think any food can be a work of art. We kind of got into this a little bit a couple weeks ago over on our Patreon. We do bonus episodes over on the Patreon. Go check us out. We were talking about a documentary called Secret Mall Apartment. Yeah. And we got into this discussion about impermanent art and then we started talking... Impermanent art. I'm from Texas, y'all, if you didn't know. Impermanent art. We talked about food, and that sort of got this discussion going a little bit. I think that's really what kicked us into gear to record this episode. But so it's art in a sense that someone created it, and the experience of it is a special experience, right? Even if it's not as profound as looking at a Van Gogh, that doesn't mean that it's not worth, there's a creativity to it, and an experience and feelings are elicited because of this creation. So I think, yes, it is.
A great
Absolutely.
Meal can have hours or days of work, but we were fascinated by it in that documentary discussion. Please go check out that episode. I really enjoyed that discussion.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was almost the analogy of sidewalk chalk, of art that disappears, of art that is transient, transitory, because I'm so bothered by that idea.
Right.
As a writer, as an artist who puts so much work and effort and time into the things I make, the idea of them going away, it's horrifying. That moment in the Greta Gerwig Little Women, when Florence Pugh burns the book, the manuscript that Saoirse Ronan is working on. That's horrifying to me. That's like supervillain activity. So this idea of art that is transient, that is destructible, is fascinating to me. So that was where we finally found the way in of how can we talk about the Big Mac. Because I've loved the Big Mac my entire life. So
of course.
We've assembled a bunch of questions here that we're kind of going to popcorn back and forth, analyzing this question beyond our initial agreement that, yes, the Big Mac is a work of art.
Yes, because if it is, well, what does that mean?
Yes.
Can we analyze it the way we would analyze a text or a painting or a movie or anything?
I want to pull from you, because when we were kind of spitballing this the other day, you brought up a really fascinating idea. And it was back to this the kind of temporal framework. When is the Big Mac a work of art? Because the way you pitched it, and you were kind of popcorning these ideas, you were thinking, is it a work of art when the chef designs it for the first time? Is it a work of art when it is photographed and on a billboard and being advertised to you? Is it a work of art when you remember it and order it at the drive-thru? Or is it a work of art when you eat it?
Yes. And when does it stop being... Yeah. When does it start? When does it stop?
They're almost different... Again, if we're talking about food as a work of art, those are all almost different mediums or ways of mediating this temporary work of art, this meal to you.
Yes.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know, because I think my main answer, my primary answer is the experience of eating it. That is when it is at its peak artistic form, is because half of the experience of the food is not only looking at it, but it's also the eating of it.
That's the intended experience.
Exactly. And so I think that's like, the same way that a movie is most at its peak when you're actually watching it.
It's not just the poster.
It's not
right?
just
it's
the DVD on your shelf. It's the watching of it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's the experience, it's experiencing the thing. Of course, that experience ends up destroying it, and so then it's gone. So that's interesting. But I think there's still an argument to be made about the other steps in the process. I think there is an artistry to creating something like the Big Mac. I mean, I'm not even gonna, like, I think we've already established there's like, all the capitalist corporate bullshit that goes into all of this too. I'm ignoring all of that. I'm ignoring that this thing is made of chemicals that will kill you. Like, I'm ignoring all of that. I'm not talking about is it good or bad. I'm just, is there an artistry to it? Yes. The creation of this thing requires a level of understanding about the experience of eating and what looks good and what's appealing to people. Like,
there are creative decisions taking place. There's a craft here.
Yes, and every single element of the burger, which we'll get into, is thoughtfully curated and constructed and designed. So there is the construction and design of the Big Mac, like the initial idea from, like, I think it was like the late 60s. I looked it up briefly. There's an artistry there. And I think separately, there's an artistry when you're advertising it, the photo shoot, especially because I noticed my dad worked in food advertising for a long time. I know a lot about food stylists and food being on set. And a lot of times it's not real food, it's fake, and it's like there's things that you add in there to buff up the thing and make it look bigger or juicier or meltier or whatever. And so
you paint it in different ways. You use I've seen videos like this where because you always see the little corner of the cheese. You see like 12 corners, and they put all these fragments of cheese that are poking out the right way. There are all these toothpicks. They're almost bumpers, like you said, to make it look taller. Yeah. It's a whole work of art. And they brush they spray paint the beef so it has the right color and the grill marks.
Yeah.
Totally.
And the photographer is an artist in and of themselves. Sure. Like, they're photographing the thing in a way that it's appealing, and they're getting the lighting and the creation of the ad is also a work of art. And like then the final ad, the billboard, the ad on Instagram, the commercial, that's a work of art in itself. It has a very specific function to advertise, and then you can get into a discussion about our ads are not have time for that. I'm going to say for our purposes here, yes, they are. But so that's a whole separate thing. And then you get into the person making it at the actual restaurant you go to, because the person who designs the burger is not the person who makes the burger. Those are different things. And so there's the person at the restaurant where you ordered it when they're putting it together and constructing it. And in that situation, I think that's the hardest case. I don't know. It's kind of a hard case because the person making your burger is doing it quickly. The whole thing is that it's fast food. I don't think they're really caring all that much how it comes out because they don't need to, and they're not paid enough to care.
But it's almost like an artist studio.
Yeah.
Where they have people doing some of the work.
Like Andy Warhol.
Even though it's just one name on the final product.
Right.
The McDonald's is the signature on the final product.
Yes.
But there are so many people along the line. I want to jump to that question that you're talking about right now. With something as corporatized, as ubiquitous, as heavily, marketed, it is a product that is so ingrained in our culture. The question almost gets sort of fuzzy when you ask who made the Big Mac. I purposely didn't look up the person who actually created it because I think the gist of our discussion, the idea here is that it almost doesn't matter. That the original creator almost doesn't exist in that way. Yes, it was someone at the company, but functionally, that individual sandwich that you're eating is created by the employee.
Of course,
or when you're a kid, like the person I credit the Big Mac to is my mom or my parents.
Right, because they bought it for you.
That was always the thing they liked at McDonald's. So it became this like aspirational, exciting thing. So I think about them as much as I think about, if you even see the employee or the person at the drive-thru who made the thing for you. I love how blurred this question is because the Big Mac, more than just talking about any other, food we could have picked for this type of conceptual discussion, it's so iconic.
Right.
It's so natural. We're all aware of this thing. It's so ingrained that it goes beyond a question like this because it's always been there, especially in America. The Big Mac is almost a fact of life, way more than any other staple signature food from any other fast food restaurant.
I know. I was trying to think of an equivalent.
Fuck the Whopper.
Who cares about the fucking
it's
Whopper?
all about the Big Mac because
Yes.
I really think it is as much of a cultural artifact and identity of the nation as, I don't know, the Statue of Liberty or the American
baseball.
flag. Baseball, exactly.
Yeah, because like there are other like big, restaurants and food things in the United States that are iconically American, but they don't have one product that has been around for like 50 or 60 years. KFC's been around for a long time, but their thing is just buckets of chicken. Like it's not something special.
No, it's
right?
not special.
Wendy's, their menu was changed 1,000 times. I guess
It's square.
they've got the Frosty, but like whatever,
Oil.
like I can't really think of anything else that has such a lasting iconic impact, and it's something that is recognized around the world.
Yeah,
like it's distinctly American, but McDonald's is a global corporation, and
yes.
I think, can you get a Big Mac in other countries?
Of course.
Okay, well I know
I'm living proof of that.
Well, I know that they develop different products for different countries based on their cuisine and that kind of thing, but I didn't know if the Big Mac was exactly the same in like France, for example.
Yeah.
Did you have one in France when you were there?
I've had one everywhere I've ever gone that isn't the U.S. Of course I have.
I'm trying to think.
I'm an American.
When I was in France, I went to McDonald's, but I think I just got a soda. I think I couldn't bring myself to eat a burger. But
that is why I made those comparisons specifically with the American flag and the Statue of Liberty, because we know someone designed the flag and, sewed up the first flag.
Yeah.
And we know some French guy made the Statue of Liberty, but those things have been ours for so long, the collective ours, that they've almost defaulted into public domain. There's something
Right.
we all kind of own and share.
yes.
And I think the Big Mac has reached that rare level of cultural saturation.
Well, especially because unlike something like the Statue of Liberty, the Big Mac is something we can all individually purchase and own and have to ourselves, temporarily.
Many times.
Yeah. It's temporary. You don't buy one and keep it. I mean, I guess you could. Someone give it a try, I guess. But you can purchase it yourself. You can buy a share of it. Basically, you can own it on your own, and that's really interesting too.
Yeah. So I want to move to another question here.
Okay.
Again, looking at it as a work of art, the question of where does this work of art exist? And I want to compare it to when you think of a painting, you think of it existing in a museum setting.
Sure.
When you think of a movie, you think of it existing ideally in a theater.
Right.
So if the Big Mac is a work of art, where does that work of art exist?
I guess wherever you're eating it, right? And
But where do you think of eating it?
Well, lately, I feel like the last few years, it's interesting. Post-COVID, I only ever eat fast food in the car now.
Bingo.
Yes. It's very funny because obviously during COVID, I wasn't eating inside anywhere. And so we would, go to drive-through. It's the best thing for COVID was drive-throughs because you didn't have to go inside and you barely interacted with another person. And so we would often eat in our car. And now, even today, I don't go inside a fast food restaurant to eat.
No, that's not where you think of. Also,
Even though
they all look like shit now.
I was gonna say.
Especially McDonald's. They used to be welcoming and colorful. They're all ugly as sin now.
They're weird now.
So
It's like
it's-
hospitals.
The experience of eating the Big Mac is not inside the modern, ugly, industrial, paper bag-looking, drab-colored McDonald's.
Yeah.
And it's not about driving half an hour and having it being soggy and lifeless when you get home.
Yeah, I don't like
it's
to do that
about
either.
it being hot, in the bag, in the car.
In the car.
Which I think doubles down on the ideas we're talking about here. Because if it does exist in an ideal setting, almost like the museum or the theater, if this work of art exists in the car, that makes it even more transient and fleeting.
Yes.
Because it kind of exists nowhere and everywhere.
Right, because the car is something that doesn't have a permanent home.
Right.
It's always moving. It is transient in its definition, but it's also something you're in all the time. Your car, especially if you live somewhere like where we do, where you have to drive everywhere, you can't walk anywhere. I'm in my car hours and hours and hours every week, and so that's like my other home is my car.
And there are so many McDonald's, whether it's the parking lot or the drive-through, there are so many of those. So it becomes almost ever present. It's always an
Yes.
option. It's always within reach.
Right. Interesting.
It's kind of an intangible
and it
work
goes
of art.
with you. And when you're on a road trip and you stop to get a drive-through, you're eating it in your car. Interesting.
And that almost
interesting.
unites all of the previous experiences you've had. All the burgers roll into one.
Yeah, and it's so funny because the Big Mac is so hard to eat because of all the lettuce. So eating it in the car is actually a nightmarish experience.
But it's worth it.
But you do it anyway. It's so interesting.
Okay, it's time to talk about the Big Mac specifically, because I think a lot of the arguments that we've talked about so far, you could kind of ascribe to any food. I want to talk about the Big Mac in particular, because what makes this particular burger, as compared to every other burger and sandwich in existence, why is this one a work of art?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, number one, we sort of have already touched on its iconic history and its lasting power. But I think I think one of the things I was really thinking about, I'm glad you kind of touched on this earlier. You talked about your parents and how that was the burger your parents ate. Because the Big Mac is not something you eat as a kid. The Big Mac is, number one, it's huge, right? Number two, it's full of things that kids don't like. It's got pickles, it's got onions, and even that burger sauce is not a thing that kids tend to like. Kids like ketchup and sometimes mayonnaise. They rarely like mustard, and they really don't like sauces that are mixed together, right? And it's got lettuce on it. Kids don't like lettuce. So the Big Mac is sort of like the adult burger that you aspire to as a kid. And I think that's really interesting versus something like a Whopper or any other burger that any other fast food place has, or even any other burger that McDonald's sells. That's more kid friendly or like approachable for a child, versus the Big Mac is something you aspire to. That's how I felt when I was a kid. I can't wait when I'm older and I want to get a Big Mac. Cause like that's what my dad would order, right? I would order the kids cheeseburger,
sure,
and maybe
the Happy Meal. Yeah,
or chicken nuggets or whatever.
Big Macs for grown-ups.
Right, but like I would never. So I think the first time I had a Big Mac, I was like, "Oh, I'm an adult now," and it was like very exciting.
It's almost aspirational. You're right here, because now that I'm thinking about it, my dad liked the kind of value menu, the cheapy, very thin burgers from Burger King.
I do still really like those. Those are so good.
Those are quite good.
Yeah,
but you're right. The Big Mac is something else. I think there are two planks to this argument.
Okay,
one is that it is uniform. It is dependable.
Yes.
Wherever you go, in any Big Mac in the country, or in any McDonald's in this country or any other country, I've tested this, it's the same. Okay. It's the same ingredients. It's the same look. It's the smell. It's the taste. I mean, this is sort of casting a charming light on corporate hellscape. But the fact that it is so mass-produced makes it kind of stable. Yeah. For the customer, there's a security in that uniformity, in the dependability of that mass production. It means that familiar thing you can go back to. You can almost rely on.
Certainly. It's also indulgent in a way that a regular burger isn't, because it's got those layers. It's got an extra bun. It's got an extra patty. Like it is called Big Mac. Like, you know what you're getting into. You're not like, oh, I'm having a light meal. Like, I'm having a Big Mac,
That's the other plank here.
And so it's the indulgence.
It's memorable because it's unique.
Yeah.
I'm glad you talked about those specific elements, because the more times you have it, the more precisely you remember it and you crave it, because there is nothing else really quite like it.
No, there's not.
The key there is the memory you develop, the where, the when, the who, the brand cachet we've been kind of unpacking so far. It's part of the monoculture. It's a shared experience, because even compared to, I mean, as Americans, burgers are a regular part of the diet.
Certainly.
But if you compare the Big Mac to much better burgers, or even if we're talking about this shared memory, more sentimental burgers, and I think the most sentimental burger is the one you have at a family cookout.
Yeah.
You got the guys working the grill, and you got the drinks, and you're outside, and there's the porch, and that should be the more emotionally resonant sandwich. Yes, I'm talking about this seriously. I think it deserves this level of gravity. The Big Mac stands out because of that special sauce. And everyone knows, well, it's just Thousand Island.
Yeah.
Go buy that at the store and put it on a burger you make at home.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
I was going to say, the Big Mac sauce is the burger sauce that every other burger, like fast food and all the way to high-end restaurant, has tried to emulate, right? And there are some places that do really well. Like, I'll say In-N-Out. I think that's my favorite fast food restaurant is In-N-Out. Their burger sauce is so good. I mean, every part of that burger is delicious, but it's not the same as the McDonald's one. I think the Thousand Island, the In-N-Out dressing is very, very good. The sauce is very good.
Yeah, or the Chick-fil-A, the
Chick-fil-A sauce. Yeah. But there's something about the Big Mac sauce. It's tangy and it's sweet and it's a little bit savory, and it mixes so well with everything else. That is such an iconic, delicious sauce. And I don't know if McDonald's invented it, but our cultural understanding is that they did. Like, everybody calls it Big Mac sauce. That's what they call it. And so,
or special sauce.
Right.
And even over this
Right.
many decades, it has remained special.
It's very special. Yeah, it's huge. It's huge.
I mean, you can go to real restaurants. You can go to sit-down steakhouses. You can spend a lot of money on a burger. And it just doesn't hit the same way
not the
that a Big
same.
Mac does. Because when you think of a burger, I'm adamant about calling it a burger, not a sandwich.
Yeah, I don't like
It's a
people calling
burger.
it sandwiches. It's like
Sandwich is a different thing.
that's a different thing. Yes.
Sandwich is like chicken.
If there's a bun, it's not a. I can't. Sorry.
Yeah, a burger is a specific thing.
Yes.
But when you think of a burger, the platonic ideal of a burger, it has ketchup on it. It's ketchup, mustard. It is this more simple cookout style burger
It's
that we're
more
talking
like a
about.
Whopper or the thing whatever they have at Whataburger. You
Or
know?
it is artisanal or gourmet, and it has some bacon wrapped bullshit on it, and it's $25. Or
Right.
it has tomato on it. Like the Big Mac defies all of these rules
I know.
of the genre for what a burger should be.
Yeah, there's no
And it has-
tomato. There's no mustard.
and
yeah,
why is there a third bun? Like you
Yeah.
said, the middle bun. That's a weird thing.
it is weird.
That's a weird. It's not like a double decker. It's just this extra thing.
yeah. Uh-huh.
It's strange, but it works, and it's
does.
essential to what this thing is. I think the kind of secret ingredient to why the Big Mac is so special, it's almost cheating. It's the fries.
What do you mean?
When you think of having a Big Mac, do you ever think of having one without fries?
Well, of course not. But that's how I think about all fast food. You know, I would never not get fries.
But when you think of the burger, you think of having a drink with it.
Yeah.
Whether it's a soda or if it's out at a cookout, maybe it's something like, I don't know, sweet tea or
or a beer or
a
something.
beer, exactly. But when you think of a Big Mac and when you're in the drive-thru, you're not going to get fries.
Yeah.
That's part of it. That's the perfect companion. It's the immortal McDonald's fries, the perfect companion to the Big Mac.
Well, and you
and
know,
that ties it together because you can have fries at home. You can have Ore-Ida or whatever other frozen shit. You
Sure.
can make fries at home that are better for you and probably taste better. But there's something about those McDonald's fries.
that's true. And if you think about you said that the Big Mac doesn't have ketchup, it doesn't have tomatoes. If you want that tomato sweet acidity, you get it through the ketchup with the fries, and so you get the full complete flavor package. Because I think if you have one of those other burgers, like other burgers at McDonald's do have ketchup and or tomatoes on them, and then when you have that with the fries, it's a lot of tomato, it's a lot of sweetness, there's a lot going on. But the flavor combinations of fries with the McDonald's specific ketchup, that ketchup is different and it's better and it's delicious. It's because it's sweeter. There's just more sugar and everything. If it's that with the Big Mac and then with like a Coke, it's just like the perfect combination of flavors and it all works together.
It's quite the
absolutely
medley.
fantastically. Yeah.
It's
yeah.
quite the medley.
It really is. Okay. I think we should talk about the different elements of this burger. Do you want to like break those down?
Sure.
Okay, let's do that. So the Big Mac has several key elements. One is, of course, the triple bun, which we talked about, and that adds layers of interest and also indulgence to it because there's extra carbs, extra bread. Everybody loves the bun on a burger. Why are you laughing at me?
It's advertising the carbs.
I really am. I just love carbs, and also it gives you more surface area to have that sauce in there, right? Because if there's more stuff to spread it on, you get more sauce.
There's more space between the patties. There's something grotesque about like a patty should
double
never
burger?
be butt to butt.
Yeah, I feel like a double.
They should never be touching.
I've had the double.
And one layer of cheese is not enough of a divider
It's
between
not
patties.
because I've had the double, at like at In-N-Out, and it's good, but it's like I'm just eating a big hunk of meat, and it's like, and even like the quarter pounder with cheese also at McDonald's is too fat. It's like it's too big.
I don't
want to
think about pounds of meat. I want to think about a nice tall burger with a light sauce on it.
There's something about the layers of
Yes.
the Big Mac that like you get every element in every bite, and it feels perfectly balanced every time. The two patties, again, they're thin, so it feels like you're eating a smash burger, which feels special and different and like fun.
It's not too
Right.
heavy either.
It's not too heavy. They're spaced out, and it makes it really interesting. And then, of course, that sauce, which we talked about, like that is key to the Big Mac. But then there's the other things. There's obviously the cheese. It's ideal melty American cheese. You get 2 slices, 1 on each patty, and that's perfect. And it's melting exactly correctly. And it's not something fancy like white cheddar or Monterey Jack or anything,
Fancy.
right? It's straight up American cheese.
It's plastic.
It's pure plastic. I know. I was eating. We had a Big Mac yesterday
It
to
was
prepare to research, of course, a business expense. And one of my corners of my cheese, was off the side, and I was like, this looks like straight plastic, but it was so good. And
But you ate it.
I ate it. It was delicious. But then what makes it really special is the pickles and the onions. And the pickles they're not too thick, they're not too crunchy, they're just there a little bit to add this element of brininess and saltiness and sourness that sort of cuts against the sweetness and like the thick fattiness of the sauce and the cheese. And so that kind of helps brighten it a little bit. And then the onions are just teeny tiny little pieces. They're just barely, you don't even notice them, right? They're just barely there. Again, they kind of add a tanginess and a brininess to the whole thing.
And you avoid onions on other burgers.
Right.
At
like,
In-N-Out, you
like,
don't even get the onions.
In-N-Out, they give you a big fat slice of onion. And I'm like, I don't want to just be crunching into a raw onion
But
like
you
I'm
would
starring
never-
in the movie Holes. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I don't want just a big bite of onion, you know?
But you would never mess with the Big Mac.
No, absolutely not.
No alterations.
No alterations.
No substitutions.
No, absolutely not. And so they serve a similar function as the pickles, but they also add a textural element. They add a little bit of crunch. And the final textural element is, of course, the lettuce, which is the best kind of burger lettuce is shredded. I don't want a big leaf of lettuce. I know when you go to a
A
cookout,
wedge salad in the middle of your
yeah,
burger.
when you go to a cookout, of course, no one's taking the time to shred the lettuce, so it's just pieces of like
It's a
iceberg.
leafy romaine.
You know, and so you put that on your burger, and that's fine, but it's not the same as like the barely green, shredded, watery, crunchy lettuce.
Just limp.
But that's the thing, is like it adds a little bit of freshness,
Yes.
and it's a little bit crunchy.
There's a texture.
Is another textural element. It doesn't really add a flavor, just a crunch and a freshness to it. And
It's the whiff of healthiness.
well, because
Like, it's a veggie.
it doesn't really make it. I mean,
It's
when you
just water.
I mean, listen, when you're eating a Big Mac, you're not thinking about health. Like, you're not like, oh, thank God there's a vegetable on here. But it's more just like, it just adds to the whole thing.
Pickles, lettuce, it's a salad.
And it feels like, again, a riff on a regular burger, which has lettuce, tomatoes, pickles, onions, you know, but it's a little bit different, right? And so all of these things work together to create this beautiful, well-balanced, well-proportioned dance. And it's like, the experience of eating the thing is actually really miserable in terms of like, it's fucking messy. It's too tall to eat. Even I have a ginormous mouth, and I can't even, like, it's hard to get.
And I have a very
And you got a tiny mouth. It's hard to get to get a full bite of the Big Mac. But it doesn't matter, because the way it's constructed, no matter what angle I'm coming in from, I'm getting every element in every bite, man, because
true.
it's all those layers. And that
It's
is
a
like,
gobstopper.
and that is the best kind of, like, anything, burger, sandwich, salad, when you've got to like make, like, when you have to try to get elements on your fork or in the bite, it's annoying. Or like, oh, I just got a big hunk of tomato in this last bite. But instead it's like, oh no, I'm getting the full experience every single time, even though I'm fighting for my life trying to keep the thing together. The lettuce is going everywhere, the sauce is dripping out, but it's like, it's an indulgent experience.
Yes,
That's what it comes down to, is it's the indulgence.
You missed an element.
What did I forget?
The sesame seeds.
Oh, of course, the sesame seeds. You're so right.
Do you have a strong opinion on this?
I'm
Because
always,
when you think of a Big Mac, it has to have the sesame seed bun.
for any burger, I'm pro sesame seed. But
Why
the
is
thing
that?
is, I don't know. It's not like
Is it the look?
I can't fucking
I think
taste
it's the
them.
look.
I think it's the look. It just feels more
Substantial.
bready and substantial. And again, it's another thing that's just to crumble all over yourself when you're eating it in your car. But
More debris.
I mean, when I was a kid, there was this burger place I went to as a kid called Holiday House that is no longer around, but it was, my mom went there as a kid, and so I went there as a kid, and their burger buns were all sesame seed buns. And so I think in my head, like, apart from the Big Mac, the cheeseburger at Holiday House is my ultimate burger, and it's no longer there, and I'm so sad. That was always sesame buns, though. And so that's like my ideal burger from my childhood, is the sesame bun. And so when you add it to this aspirational adult burger, it's the full complete package. What do you think about sesame buns, though?
If I'm going to buy a burger bun, if I'm making burgers at home, I for some reason I avoid the sesame seed. I don't know why. It's like, why is it there? I don't know.
That's weird.
I don't want to clean it up. I have a weird resistance to it. If I'm making some sort of General Tso orange chicken or something,
Sure.
and then I have the little container of sesame seeds
To
and
sprinkle on top?
when I sprinkle them on top, I feel like a chef.
Oh, I feel so fancy
It's crazy.
when you add sesame seeds.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
So that is when I reach for a sesame seed.
Mm.
I would never, in any other circumstance, think of a sesame seed. But if it's not on a Big Mac, I'm freaking
It's
out.
so wrong.
I'm freaking out.
Well, and I think also it adds a little bit of texture to the bun in a way that like a perfectly smooth bun does not have. It adds some bumpiness and texture, and that gives it more, I don't know, textural taste interest. I don't know. You know, it's weird to describe, but it changes, and it changes the way you hold it and your fingers grip onto it, and it's better.
Yeah.
It's so much better.
It's texture, it's grip. Yes.
You're so right. You're so right. So I'm thinking about all these elements, and they're making this. The ultimate thing they're creating is, you know, delight and joy because it tastes so good. But I was trying to think, what other feelings does this burger eating experience elicit? There's the joy. There's the satisfaction, but there's also, again, there's a combination of both nostalgia from your childhood, from eating fast food as a kid and how fun and exciting that was when you were a kid. Because, like, I don't know what your family was like, but like we didn't get fast food all that often, and so when we did, it was always very exciting. Like, oh, we're going to McDonald's.
It was
like,
special.
It was a big deal, you know. But also, like, it's not only is it special. Again, it's part of that aspiration. This is the burger my parents ate. Now I'm a grown up. I can eat it. But it's also that it's indulgent. Like if I'm just randomly craving fast food, the Big Mac is probably not what I'm going to get. I'm going to get a more regular standard burger.
We're adults. We're going to In-N-Out.
I'm going to In-N-Out. Exactly. What am I, a monster?
In-N-Out in the comic shop is such a beautiful pairing.
It's a beautiful. We've been doing it weekly. It's
again
for years.
Since COVID. That's when we developed that.
It's incredible.
The Big Mac is its own event, though. You don't need to pair it with anything except fries.
Like if I just like want a quick thing from McDonald's, I'm probably not going to get a Big Mac.
What?
No, because it's like I want something a little lighter. You know, I'll get like fries and one of the small burgers, or if it's breakfast time, I'll get a Egg McMuffin. You know, but the Big Mac feels like, oh, I'm gonna like really go for it and get the Big Mac. Like I don't know, it feels special.
Indulgent.
It's a special occasion, and like it elicits that feeling of it being a special experience, a special occasion. Also, I've found if I eat a Big Mac too often, it starts to gross me the fuck out. And so you have to not get it very often, and then it maintains that air of specialness and
scarcity
and occasionalness, you know. So I think that's part of it too. So it elicits all these delightful feelings, and and you're thinking about all of the elements the whole way through, and they all work together, and it's a top-notch experience. You can't beat it. It's really fun.
No, it does exist in the abstract.
Yeah, because it tells you this story of childhood and also aspiration and indulgence, and it all works together very nicely.
The Big Mac is a work of art.
It is. It absolutely is. And it's so delicious and so fun.
We should have eaten before recording this episode.
I know, now I'm
quite hungry now.
I want to go eat something. I guess we'll have to go get another Big Mac. Oh, drat. Oh, no.
Thank you very much for joining us for this episode.
Yes,
this has been in the hopper for so long.
Yeah.
I think we did it justice.
I think we did too. Please tell us what you think about the Big Mac. Is it a work of art? Is there another thing you'd like us to break down and analyze? Do you have something else from McDonald's that you think is better, or another, food object?
What's your ideal burger? What's your aspirational burger?
Yes, do tell. Tell us if you like In-N-Out or not. It's a big debate. People feel strongly about In-N-Out, let me tell you. So anyway, comment down below. This has been so much fun. If you're on YouTube, of course, you can comment. If you're not on YouTube, if you're just listening to this show, if you're still, a podcast subscriber, you can send us
an email. We're a podcast, first and foremost.
We certainly are. YouTube is just another way for us to reach more people. But anyway, you can reach us via email, secondbreakfastpod@gmail.com. Genuinely, send us an email about your Big Mac opinions. I would love to read it. It'll make my day. Okay. Maybe we'll read it on the show. Who knows? You can also DM us over on Instagram, Second Breakfast Pod. Also, we have a Patreon. Did we mention that in this episode?
Yes, we did. Because of the Secret Mall apartment.
Yes, that's right.
That was in the most recent installment of the Breakfast Buffet Roundup series.
That's right.
Where we talk about all sorts of works of art and how they talk to each other and how some ideas resonate or compound.
That's right.
That's all over on Patreon. It's $2 a month to support the show and get access to a whole catalog of episodes there. The Breakfast Buffet series is 24 episodes deep. We also did chapter by chapter through the source material of House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones spinoff. We have all sorts of bonus content piled up over there in the reserves.
And because it is now May 2025, we have been doing this podcast for 5 years now. So to celebrate our 5-year anniversary, we are releasing a bonus episode every single week on Patreon this month in May 2025. So this is a perfect time to join. Finally, if you liked this discussion, if you like Cam's wackadoo ideas, you should check out Cam's latest book, Lemon Tarts in Space. It's a light sci-fi dark comedy. Ridley Scott's Alien meets Monty Python. It is so funny and delightful. You can read it as a regular book, or you can listen to the fully produced audio drama, which is a real delight, a real treat. Links for that are in the description of this episode. But basically, just search anywhere you find audiobooks, you'll find it. It's great.
Or go to the links in the bio.
Yeah.
I accidentally baked in my love affair with hot sauce. It becomes a major plot point in Lemon Tarts.
It does. That's true. You should check it out. Yeah, y'all, it's so much
There's
fun.
a kinship with this episode.
Thank you to those who have supported the book so far, and we really appreciate your continued support. It's so good. Cool. Well, thanks so much for listening to this conceptual, really fun episode. I had a great time recording it, and now I'm really hungry. But yeah, thank you again, and we'll catch you in a few days with another brand new episode.